So hi, very good evening. So today's class will be starting with that foundation of the Congress, and then hopefully we are going to complete the Swadeshi movement also, what all things happened at the time of the Swadeshi movement. So the very first phase of the Indian freedom struggle, let's start with that. Before starting the foundation of the Congress, there is a one important topic, or not just important, but it's a very small one. It's a kind of a background to the foundation of the Indian National Congress. And what is that background? Let's see, nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens overnight. It takes a little bit of time. And in this case, that an all India organization to appear, there were many political organizations, small regional political organization, which were functioning from the long time, and they are the one which gives a feeling to the Indians that now is the time that the regionalization is over, and now is the time that we must create a platform which is pan-India nature and to establish a civil and political dialogue with the government. So early political organization, there are 8 early political organizations which I'm going to write here in a quick fashion. What we would be writing, see that this is important from the prelims exam perspective. And last time, I think in 2017 or 18, there was a question related to the founders of this. So they can ask only this type of the question, that chronology, that which organization came first, that could be one. Another, the founders associated with, for example, they ask you that who of the following were associated with the Landholder Society. So then you need to identify that who was the person associated with Landholder Society. That could be one question. And another, that they can ask you that this particular was the purpose of the Landholder Society. That particular was the purpose of the Landholder Society. So this kind of questions they can give you. So let's begin with this. See that already today is the 19th class, and there would be no reprieve and there would be no relaxations, and moreover, we will not rush then, but somehow, some way we need to go little fast. Just wait 1 minute. So we need to go little fast in writing, and we must not waste our time. So the platform which wastes our time, that's now turned off. And let's begin. Early political organization. Early political organization, and you also write at the same point of time. So the number 1 is the Landholders Society. Landholders Society, and this is the one which is even earlier to the 1857 revolt. So it was established in 1837 in this particular time, and the people who were responsible, so I'm writing F, which means founders. So founder of this, let's write here for the first time, but next time I will write F. Founder was Dwarkanath Tagore, and Radhakant Deb. So last time when a question was asked, the question was in relation to this second personality, Radhakant Deb. Then, so Radhakant Deb, then what was the purpose of the organization? As you can see that in the name it is clear, Landholder Society. So they are going to safeguard the rights of the landholders. Then, which is Zamindar. So to safeguard the rights of zamindars, to safeguard the rights of zamindars. Then, and this is what was happening in the British India. Not all the zamindars, their areas were usurped by the Britishers, but also many, not all, but some of them, their areas were usurped, and those people who were casualty to the British rule at this point of time, particularly from the zamindar section, those who were traditional ones, then जिनके घर में जमींदारी is coming from the long time, then so they were the traditional one. And moreover, since they were the traditional ones, they had a repute in the society that they are soft towards the people. They are understanding the people. And whoever was soft towards the people, understanding the people, whoever was behaving in a humane manner to the peasants, so then irony was that they were the one whose land was captured by the Britishers. Then, so landholder society, this is one. Then the second one, British India Society of Bengal. Just 1 minute. Okay. So, write quickly, you may not get time. Second one, British India Society of Bengal. British India Society of Bengal, 1851. So 1851. And the founder of this organization was George Thompson. George Thompson. नाम से तो विदेशी लग रहे. Then, so George Thompson. Then, as you can see that British India Society of Bengal. So this organization, the purpose of this one, sorry, here I have written wrong. Here make it 43. So this organization was working to safeguard the rights of the common public. So purpose you write to safeguard the rights of common public. To safeguard the rights of common public. Then, and actually something which is going to happen with these two organizations, that happened in 1851. So what is this? The merger of the two organizations. Then, so the merger of the two organizations, landholders and British India Society, and it became British India Association in 1851. And 1851 under the guidance of this person, Radhakant Deb. So under the guidance of the Radhakant Deb, these two organizations were merged and a third organization was created, British India Association in 1851, and it will work for both to safeguard the rights of Zamindar as well as common public. So if you have written, I will go with the merger. So these two organizations getting merged then and resulting into British third. So it is resulting into third, that is British Indian Association. British Indian Association of 1851. Then further you mention under the guidance of Radhakant Deb. Under the guidance of Radhakant Deb. Then under the guidance of Radhakant Deb, and then you mention purpose. Purpose is to safeguard rights of zamindars and common public. To safeguard the rights of zamindars and common public. Done? Keep on writing this organization. Now I'm writing the fourth organization, and that was the Bombay Association, created by so fourth one, Bombay Association. (1852), founder Dadabhai Naroji. Dadabhai Naroji. Purpose to demand legislative council for Indians. To demand legislative council for Indians. Now see that Dadabhai Naroji is demanding this Legislative Council for Indians in 1852. That is before the revolt. So before the revolt. And when it was conferred, so you can always go back to what you have read in the previous class, or not just the previous, just does not mean that class number 18. Previous class means that all the 18 classes. Then, and just look at that. If there is any correlation which I can establish. So Dadabhai Naoroji demanded it in 1852, and by 1861 it was firmly there. The Council of India was created in 1858 with 15 members, and that was assisting the Secretary of the State that you have written in the Government of India Act 1858. And thereafter you have written that the process of associating Indians in the lawmaking process started, and that representative institutions started by associating the Indians into the lawmaking process, and Indians were entering into the legislative councils as a non-official member. That's what exactly you have written in the 1861. So you must keep track of this one, that he's demanding, and after some point of time, some sort of success is there. Then, so this is one. Then, let's move to the next one. So fifth, East India Association. East India Association in 1866 at London. So this organization was not created in India, it is created in Britain. And who is the founder? Founder is Dadabhai Naoroji. Again Dadabhai Naoroji. And this time, what is his agenda or purpose? So purpose of this organization, economic critique of colonialism. That you have already read. Economic critique of colonialism, and this organization is the one which forwarded Drain theory of wealth. Drain theory of wealth. Then, Drain theory of wealth. East India Association of 1866 at London. Then, I'll move to the next organization. Sixth one, Indian Association of Calcutta, 1876. Founders Surendra Nath Banerjee. And Anand Mohan Bose. Purpose to oppose the reactionary measures of Viceroy Lytton. To oppose the reactionary measures of Viceroy Lytton. Please write quickly. The next one, please mention. Seventh, Madras Mahajan Sabha. Madras Mahajan Sabha, 1884. Founders M. Veer Raghavachariyar, M. V. Raghavachariyar, P. Anand Charlu, and G. Subramania Iyer. G. Subramania Iyer. Then, purpose to demand more political rights for Indians. Then, basically, they are also demanding more political rights. And if you are able to connect, I will tell you later on. Let me write the last organization, and then after, I'll see that if you are able to connect. So, let me write the next organization. It would be visible, I hope. I'm keeping it here, and now I'll talk about the last organization. Eighth, Bombay Presidency Association. Bombay Presidency Association of 1885. So this is the last organization. So of 1885, then founders. So K.T. Talang. Oh, sorry. Just 1 minute. K.T. Talang. Then Badruddin Tayyabji. And Firoz Shah Mehta also. So Firoz Shah Mehta, and purpose to demand more political rights for Indians. Then, so demand more political rights for Indians. Now, the outcome of these two, 1884, 1885, connect. You must connect. 1892. Charter Act 1892. What was the first provision that you have written? Increased number of Indians as non-official members. Though they maintained the official majority, but the number of Indians or number of the non-official members increased in both central and provincial assemblies. This is the first thing that you have written, so that you can say that some sort of success of these two demands in 1892. So just don't just consider that these are the facts which you need to remember. The facts you need to establish link that what you have studied earlier and what were the outcomes of that. So this is all about the early political organizations, and let's talk about this very important organization, that is the foundation of the Congress in 1885, Indian National Congress. So please write it quickly. I'll give you 30 seconds. Now I hope 30 seconds is over. I'll move to the next page. So please write foundation of the Congress. Foundation of Indian National Congress in 1885. In 1885. Then, so now there is one story which we need to know at this point of time. So, not story, but what all things happened at this point of time, we need to know. So listen, that foundation of the Indian National Congress, as one name comes to the mind of everyone, and that was the name of the A.O. Hume. But first of all, that how it all happened. There are so many regional organizations all over India, and they are demanding something and some sort of success. You can say that not grand success, but some sort of success was there. Moreover, they were not demanding a huge mountainous thing which Britishers cannot concede to. So they fulfilled some of the aspirations, but that was not enough in realization of the rights of the common public. So everybody was realizing that this is not happening. This is not happening, that these small rights, small privileges and small opportunities, they are not going to fulfill the dreams of India. So first of all, let me tell you, Alan Octavian Hume, he was a person, there are 2-3 stories associated with him, that he was a retired British civil servant. He was a retired British civil servant. And A.O. Hume was quite in touch with the educated Indians then. So he had good touch with the educated Indians, in fact, good understanding between them. Moreover, it is said that he was quite much influenced with a Himalayan saint, one Himalayan Rishi. And it was said about that Hume that he came in touch with that Himalayan Rishi, and that Himalayan Rishi saint prophesied so many correct things about the A.O. Hume. So A.O. Hume became his follower, and that Himalayan Rishi said to the Hume that if there is not any way out at this point of time, so there would be a greater revolt than 1857, and it's not just about that who would be victorious and who would be not, but it would lead to large-scale massacre from both the sides. Then, so large-scale massacre from both the sides, and that would be the sacrilege of the human beings. Then, so what happened? So at this point of time, A.O. Hume took it seriously. He was a follower, and since that Mahatma has depicted so many right things about him, so he started to follow him. So A.O. Hume was running to create an organization. Then, and Indian leaders were also working. But problem with the Indian leaders were that the British authority in the power, they were not letting them form any big organization or all India organization. So though the Indian nationalists, they are working, they are striving hard for the same to create a national organization, but that was not fructifying. So A.O. Hume in 1883, he visited Calcutta University. So he visited Calcutta University, and he was in touch with all the alumni of the Calcutta and Calcutta University, and also the intellectuals of the Calcutta. So there he proposed this idea to these people. So there he proposed this idea that we need to create a common platform. What is your say? So they also said that we are also thinking that a common platform hona chahiye. But how come? How we will create that? So it doesn't seem to be a near possibility. So then what happened? He said that let me try. So then he went to, he came back, and then he started his own methods of trial and errors. So there are 2 things that you need to understand, and this is only I'm sharing in your batch. So first of all, he appealed to the Viceroy at that point of time that he need to create a Indian National Union. Then so Indian National Union, and Viceroy gave permission to create Indian National Union. In fact, Viceroy said that this Indian National Union, it would not be a separate political organization, but it would be an appendage of the government. Okay? So it would be the appendage of government to, and this Indian National Union would be a platform for the civil and political dialogue between the Indians and the government. But it is an appendage of the government. So this thing, I think, happened in 1885 May. So 1885 May it was proposed, and approval was also given. Then what happened? 1885 was also the year in which the general elections were to happen in the Britain. So general election is to happen in the Britain. So the Indian intelligentsia, and they were always ferrying, all the time they were ferrying from India to London, London to India. So इनके पास पैसे थे जो early nationalists थे. So they did had a good amount of money, and they were ferrying from India to London. So in this general election, they also went to Britain, and then they started saying to the people of the Britain, this all Indian leaders who were in London, and including AO Hume, they said that please vote to that party, or that candidate who is soft towards the aspirations of the people of India. So he is soft towards the aspiration of the people of India, and moreover, they also maintained that please vote to the party which is not taxing India to fund its campaigns in the different countries. In fact, at this point of time, all the taxes that was excruciated from India, British was using it to further their campaigns in the other countries, and moreover to fulfill their own treasury. So they were campaigning like this, and then the results came. And results came, it was a complete failure. That their canvassing was the complete failure. कि जो भी बात कर रहे थे वहां पे कि इनको वोट दो जो इंडिया के कॉज के लिए है, it was a complete failure. And then the Indian leaders understood that it's not that easy. You will have to fight your own battle. So it's not that easy. You will have to fight your own battle. लिख लो कहीं इसको स्टार मार्क करके, ठीक है, कि it's not that easy. You will have to fight your own battle. And then think over this. Then many a times. Then think on this line that many a times. रोज एक बार पढ़ना, ठीक है, and then you will clear this exam. ठीक है? So I hope you are understanding. So this is what happened, and then they decided ये Indian National Union किसी काम का नहीं है. We don't want to be appendage to the government, and we will create a all India national organization, and that would be the Indian National Congress. And A.O. Hume was also like that. Yes, there is no need of appendage to the government, and then let me do that. Then जो होगा सो देखा जाएगा, ठीक है? So जो होगा सो देखा जाएगा, and it happened. So 1885, the foundation of the Indian National Congress was let down. Some details are there, we will write. But इतनी कहानी लिखनी नहीं है. मैंने सुना तो दी, पर इतनी लिखनी नहीं है, ठीक है? So you write few things about this. So या थोड़ी लिख लो. That would be better. That the early nationalist had this realization that nothing less than an all India organization will work in the favor of Indians. Will work in the favor of Indians. Then will work in the favor of Indians. Full stop. Then further you mention will work in the favor of Indians. In 1883, at Calcutta, retired British civil servant A.O. Hume proposed to the Indian intelligentsia to create an all India organization. To create an all India organization. Full stop. Then you write In 1885, British authority gave permission to Hume, gave permission to A.O. Hume to create Indian National Union, to create Indian National Union, to create Indian National Union as an appendage to government, as an appendage to government, and provide, as an appendage to government and provide a platform, and to provide a platform for civil and political dialogue, platform to provide civil political dialogue between the Indian intelligentsia and the British government, between the Indian intelligentsia and the British government. But after full stop you write, but by the end of 1885, or by the December of 1885, by December of 1885, it was very clear to the Indian nationalists that it is not easy, and they will have to fight their own battle. They will have to fight their own battle. And not to function as an appendage of the government. So this is what we can mention. Now, the other details. So the details are that the first meeting of the Indian National Congress has to be convened. So initially it was decided that Pune would be the location of the first meeting, but in Pune at that point of time there was this bubonic plague. So they shifted, or they decided that Bombay would be better. So the first meeting of this particular Indian National Congress, it was held on 28th of December in Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay. So Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College, Bombay, and in this assembly, Vomesh Chandra Banerjee, he was elected as the president of the assembly, and then A.O. Hume took the position of the general secretary. So A.O. Hume took the position of the general secretary, and this is how the foundation of the Congress was led. So foundation of the Congress was led, and then after another thing, so foundation was led, and this is that it is this organization which carried forwarded and which continued its struggle against the British authority, British hegemony, British domination, and this is the one which was the main organization of the Indian national movement. So that you already know. I don't need to frame it in big beautiful words. This is all implicit, you know. So here at this place I would be asking few questions to you. So that questions I would ask, but first you write. So you write that the first meeting of INC, Indian National Congress, the first meeting of INC was convened at Gokul Das Tejpal Sanskrit College, Gokuldas Tejpal, Sanskrit College, Bombay. Bombay on 28th of December. On 28th of December, full stop. On 28th of December, then you mention Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. Vomesh Chandra, actually it's a Bengali term, so when you write Chandra in Hindi belt, so you write this way, Chandra. Then, but in Bengali you will write this way, Chandur. Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. Then, so Chandra, they use this way. So Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. So Vomesh Chandra Banerjee was elected as the president. And Ellen Octavian Hume. एक बार पूरा नाम भी लिख लो. Ellen Octavian Hume took the charge of General Secretary. Took the charge of General Secretary. Took the charge of General Secretary. Then, so rest of the words I don't want to mention. जो मैं कोशिश कर रहा था, now I would be enabling this chat box to ask few questions to you. So now it's all active. The question is, I just want to know, and moreover, these type of questions are asked in the exam. So please tell me that who was the first women president of the Congress? Then, who was the first women president of the Congress? Then the second question would be that who was the first president of the Congress from Muslim community or minority community? So first women president of the Congress, and then first minority president of the Congress or minority president from the Muslim community from the in Congress. So this is the question, and see, ये पहला वाला जो tag है ना, the first president, many a times it has been asked in the UPSC, and in a very recent past it was asked. So the first ones you need to remember. You don't need to remember from 1885 to 1947 the n number of the जितने भी president हुए हो. You don't need to remember all of them. But yes, the first ones and the ones under whose presidentship some important initiatives were taken, some important movement started. So then that we need to know. But first वाला सबको जानना होता है. So he is the first president, Vomesh Chandra Banerjee. उसके बाद, so any Besant? Okay. So very late say answers I, and then all of a sudden all the answers have come when I refreshed. So you guys are quite right. So any Besant? But those who have written Sarojini Naidu. So Annie Besant was in year 1917. She was president of the Congress in 1917. So you guys are right that those who have written Annie Besant, that is right, and Badruddin Tayyabji is also right. So the first president from the Muslim community was the Badruddin Tayyabji, and first women president was the Annie Besant. Then, so I was just looking at that some different names that you guys must have sent. So, Neha, it's not Badrang Tayyabji. Badruddin Tayyabji. No, not Badrang. Then, so, then, Firoza Mehta. इनका तो नाम ही कहीं नहीं लेना चाहिए. So now, these two are the correct answers. Now, those who have sent name of the Sarojini Naidu, She was the first Indian women president of the Congress. Difference hai. The first women president of the Congress was Annie Besant, and she was not Indian. She was Irish citizen. Okay? So she was from Ireland. But the first Indian women who became the president, that was Mrs. Sarojini Naidu. So Sarojini Naidu was the first Indian women president. Then the next question, and I just expect nothing sort of complete integrity on your part, complete honesty and complete integrity on your part. That's what I mean, that when I ask a question, you are not Googling it. See, that may work for you, that instant answer you can give by Googling it, but otherwise, it will not work in your favor. It will not go a long way. You are compromising, you will be compromising your integrity. And so, देख के तो सभी जवाब दे लेते हैं, ठीक है? नहीं देख के कुछ नहीं भी बोलना ठीक होता है. So, listen, don't check it on the Google. Now the next one. Who was the first women? Tell the name of the first women who addressed the Congress session. So this is different. This question is different. Tell me the name of the women for the very first time who addressed the annual Congress session. And what is the name of that lady? So, I'm not asking the name of the president. Already we have mentioned. Now you need to tell that who was the first woman to address the Congress session. So I think some point of time this chat box is little slow. Response box. Rekha ji kama. हेमंत निहारिका, इंदिरा गांधी, oh my god, पैदा भी नहीं हुई थी, and then you made her that she addressed the assembly. बढ़िया है. कादम्बिनी गांगुली is the right answer. ठीक है? So कादम्बिनी गांगुली is the right answer. ठीक है? She was the one who addressed the assembly in 1889. So you can write her name, Kadambini Ganguly, and not Kadambari. Kadambini Ganguly. So ये लोग अभी चर्चा में नहीं है. गांगुली बनर्जी, ममता बनर्जी, सौरभ गांगुली, लोग के रिश्तेदार देखो कितने टाइम से चर्चा में हैं. So कादम्बिनी गांगुली was the first Indian women, or first women ही लिखो, first women to address the Congress assembly or Congress session, to address the Congress session in 1889. So in 1889. So these were the questions which I needed to ask you, and बहुत लोगों ने सही जवाब दिए हैं. ठीक है? आप सभी लोगों को पुरस्कार. ठीक है? और as an award, you'll get nothing but just mere appreciation that you guys are doing good job, that you are reading some stuff, and that stuff is useful. So last time when a question from the Congress president was asked, it was in 2016, and they asked the same question which I asked to you, that who was the first Congress president from the Muslim community? That was Badruddin Tayyab ji. So let's move to the next one. So once this particular Congress was created, ab samajhna isko. So once the foundation of the Congress was created, and you know, we live in a country where we are argumentative Indians, then, and that's very rightly said by the Amartya Sen, that argumentative Indian. Then, so we are argumentative Indians, and we discuss a lot. Then, so हम तिल का ताड़ भी बनाते हैं और ताड़ से तिल भी बनाते हैं. Then, so it goes both way around. So at this point of time, there was a discussion, and there was this theory proposition that there were, on one hand, there were the imperialist people who were saying that who were forwarding some theory related to the Congress formation, and there were, on the other hand, the nationalists who were not accepting this imperialist theory. Then, so what is this theory? This is very popularly known as theory of safety valve. So please write it as a heading, and it is related to the formation of the Congress, theory of safety valve. Theory of safety valve. So now listen, what is this theory of safety valve? So as per the imperialist people, imperialist historians, thinkers, then, so as per the imperialist people, imperialist historians and thinkers, they said that the creation of the Indian National Congress was solely because of the A.O. Hume, Ellen Octavian Hume, and nobody else is responsible for the creation of the Indian National Congress. Then they further maintained that why A.O. Hume is going forward with creation of the Indian National Congress. So they are maintaining that he wanted to give a outlet. Listen this carefully. He wanted to give a safe outlet to ventilate the grievances of the rising middle class. So he wanted to give an outlet to safely ventilate the grievances of the rising Indian middle class. And keep in mind that they were of the view that he wanted to avoid any major big revolt in India and any major big uprising in India. So for avoiding that big uprising, he created this particular organization and he was the only person responsible for it. That's what is their view. Then the nationalists, they rejected this theory of the safety valve and they maintained that, see, this organization cannot be attributed, the creation of this organization cannot be attributed to a single person. And this organization, if it has come to picture, so it is because of the concerted efforts of the early nationalist and also the regional leaders, regional organization. So regional organization, then the early nationalist leader. And that's how it has come to picture. Then, so it has come to picture, and moreover, they rejected this imperialist view. But if you look at the reality, so reality says that, see, if nationalists saying that only the early nationalist and regional organization responsible, that's also not 100% true. You can say that is 50-60% truth, not 100%. And if the imperialist saying that A.O. Hume was solely responsible, it is also not true. A.O. Hume, though he was the one who was instrumental, you can say, but he was not the one who did all the work. So he came up with the idea, he started to collect the people, and then the organization came to picture. So both the things are right. Both the things are right. And we can sum up this in a beautiful word. So for example, we can say that A.O. Hume was using that creation of the Indian National Congress, with the creation of the Indian National Congress, he was using it as a safety valve, and safety valve for the British Raj. Then the early nationalists were also using the Indian National Congress as a lightning conductor to evade their official intention and to evade that what is their intention and to evade the official suspicion that what is their original intention. And I hope you know that why we are using the term lightning conductor, because what is there outside in the lightning conductor, what is there inside in the lightning conductor will not be visible outside. So there is something else and something else is outside. And that's how it functions then. So this is why we use this term lightning conductor. So you write theory of safety valve. And very first thing you write, as per the imperialist point of view, A.O. Hume, the retired civil servant, A.O. Hume, the retired civil servant, was solely responsible. A.O. Hume, the retired civil servant, was solely responsible for establishing Indian National Congress. For establishing Indian National Congress in order to provide a safe outlet to ventilate in order to provide a safe outlet to ventilate the grievances of rising middle class, and prevent any major uprising Okay? So, and prevent any major uprising. So this is what was the story here. Okay? Second wala part likho, that nationalist view. So you write, change paragraph and then you mention, however, this view was not accepted by the nationalist. However, this view was not accepted by the nationalist. Full stop. According to them, no single individual was responsible for the formation of Indian National Congress, and it was the result of early nationalist and the early political organization. Then, so this is two views and both of them are partially correct, partially wrong, and let's write what is correct. So again change paragraph, and third paragraph you write, all things considered, it can be said that if A.O. Hume was using Indian National Congress, as safety valve, then the early nationalist were using them as a lightning conductor, in order to avoid official suspicion regarding their intention. So, ये रही बात foundation of Indian National Congress की. Now we are going to start the first phase of the Indian freedom struggle, which is also a small portion, and then we will enter into the second phase where we are going to talk about the Swadesi movement. So let's start with this first phase of the Indian freedom struggle. So foundation of the Congress, all the stories now is there with you. So please mention first phase of freedom struggle. Also known as moderate phase, moderate phase, and this phase is from 1885 to 1905. So moderate phase is 1885 to 1905. Okay? So now listen. So this very first phase of the freedom struggle, okay? Soon after the formation of the Indian National Congress, the first phase of the freedom struggle started. And obviously that national leaders had this check that they will have to fight their own battle. And moreover, nobody is going to pay heed to that, what they are going through. So what they are going through, and nobody is thinking about that the welfares of the Indians, particularly in the Britain. If you think that British people will listen to the grievances of the Indians, they will vote with regard to the Indian exploitation in the mind, everybody is concerned about themselves then, and that is what is the hard reality. So now they have started their fight then. So, but the fight in the beginning must not be ferocious. The fight in the beginning must not be aggressive. But every fight from the very beginning, it must be based in the context, and it must be gradual, and moreover, it must be cautious. Then, and the biggest challenge before this early nationalists, sabse pehle, that this India, that it's a big, vast country, and moreover, quite diverse in the name of the culture, then language, literature, religion, traditions, then so quite diverse. So the very first thing is that to make people realize that they are exploited. Many a times we are exploited and we don't realize. We accept it as a way of life कि ये तो हमारे नसीब में लिखा हुआ है कि हमें exploit होना है, ठीक है? This is how human nature works in a different fashions. You can never predict. So that you have accepted it as a way of life, that until and unless that there is, if I would be there in the world, so I will have to live this way. No, you can change your position at any point of time. You can change your circumstances at any point of time only if you realize, only if you see it clearly, only if you are not blindfolded, only if you are not on the bhakt. Then you can see that. So at this point of time, the biggest challenge was this, to make political awareness, to create the political awareness in this country. And this is the most important thing, to create political awareness in the country. And though it may seem to you, that it is a small word, but it is a magical thing. It's not a small word, creating political awareness. It does wonders, and it is the most basic of all. Without it, nothing can happen. For example, that you guys, all of you, as I can see that more than 300 people right now. So these 300 people, you have taken a very, kind of that, not deliberate, but after so much of thinking and then pondering over the things, that what is there in your society, what you are going through, you have taken an aware decision of participating in this exam or taking on this exam. And then on the basis of your awareness, you want to become the civil servant. Different services, that is another thing, but you want to become civil servant. And then when you decided that you want to become civil servant, then you made yourself aware about that how you can do this preparation. So some of the people, they went with that कि हमें coaching नहीं चाहिए, हमें कुछ नहीं चाहिए, हम ऐसे ही कर लेंगे. And those people who are there in the class, you decided that you will join a coaching institute, and then you will take help of the institute, then you will take the help of the people who are teaching from the long time, then who have a little bit of experience, then or jada experience, then or moreover that you will be in a discipline. So you took a weird decision of joining an institute, and then moreover you also did analysis all over the things in the market, all the institute, all the platforms, and then you took your best decision joining this institute. Then so yes, obviously when you have joined the institute, obviously this was your best decision. I'm not saying that other institutes are not best, but for you it is the best decision. Then so you took the admission in the institute, and reality is that your chances of getting selected increases 3, 4, 5 times when you join a coaching institute. Then so is it like that? So sometimes you need to get the joke also. And you need to get back to the word which I said in the beginning. Yes, it facilitates your preparation. but sole joining the coaching institute will not lead to the selection. You will have to fight your own battle, and you will have to fight it all alone in this. Then, so you will have to fight your own battle. There are people, there is this institute which is doing its own lot to help you in clearing the exam, to discipline, to make you disciplined, to make you operate according to a system. And when you are operating according to a disciplined manner, that disciplined system, so obviously you are successful. Then, so कभी भी इस मुगालते में मत रहना कि सिर्फ कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट ज्वाइन कर लेने से सिलेक्शन हो जाता है. इस हिसाब से, going by this estimate, that there would be near about all over India, that's though the seats in the civil services examination are hardly 1,000, selections would be 1.5 lakh. Then, if we go by this estimate that joining the institute will lead you to the selection, no, that's not the reality. And moreover, again, since you are in the last leg of the classes, you must be aware about the reality. And the reality is that no one can spoon-fed you. And if you are a spoon-fed, so then you cannot become successful. And many times we do criticize the Chinese regime, and we do criticize that what happens in the China, what it has that unleashed to the world. But at the same point of time, you can learn few things from the Chinese regime. Then, and Japan also, that if you just go and see the things that related to the children, I have seen many videos related to this, and in reality I have read that also. What they do, that they keep a bowl before the boy, that's small children's, the bowl of rice, and before the children, then, and they don't make them eat it with the spoon. They will keep that two forks, that two sticks, that Chinese sticks, and then chopsticks, that what you say, and they put it in the rice, and then the children are whipping, they are crying, but nobody will feed them. They will have to feed themselves, and they will start sit in front of the child. They will start eating with that chopstick, and the child is initially it is crying, then and later on it takes up that particular chopstick, and then it starts eating. Though he will spill so many things, but over the period, after some point of time, he will learn how to use the chopstick to eat that rice. And I hope you are getting the context right. Let's come to this part. So in the beginning, the Indian National Congress, what was the initial demand of the Indian National Congress? To grant more political rights, and then also they wanted the reforms in the Indian civil services. And you have written the factors which favored the rise of the nationalism. So there at that place, we mentioned about the discriminatory policy of the Britishers, whereby what they did, that they decreased the maximum age of the civil services examination from 21 to 19, or 19 में तो इंडिया में कुछ होता भी नहीं है. So that discussion we did on that day. So that they wanted that there must be some reforms in the civil services examination, and these reforms, if it would be there, so Indians would not be in a disadvantageous position as compared to the Europeans. Moreover, exam was conducted in Britain. Syllabus was little bizarre for Indians. I will not say that difficult, because हम लोगों के लिए कुछ भी difficult नहीं होता. We Indians, we can do anything. Then, so but we are not using it in the right way. Then, so it was not difficult, but yes, it was complicated, because you are introducing Greek and Latin subjects rather than Indian subjects for the Indian civil services examination. So that was unacceptable. So their initial demands were more political rights then, and more number of Indians in the councils then, and moreover reforms in the civil services examination. So 1885 they started this demand, and that's how it was fulfilled by 1892. But at least that legislative assembly, civil services में कोई reform नहीं हुआ, ठीक है? So one such place, some sort of achievement, but other place no achievement. Then the next biggest contribution of this early nationalists was the economic critique of the colonialism. Then, so economic critique of the colonialism, and this we have written already in a very detailed fashion. So अच्छे से हम लोगों ने लिखा है. So we don't need to write or elaborate over here. If I wouldn't have covered that portion in the factors affecting nationalism or giving rise to the nationalism, so I would have covered it over here. But since already we have written, so we will not be writing it over here. So another very important contribution was the economic critique of the colonialism. And if you remember the last words we wrote on that day, that India, which is a nation of the peasants, and no thoughts can arouse Indians like the thought that they are being taxed in India so that people living in the far lands, they can live in the comfort. Then, and it was very easy for Indians to understand that how they are taxed, and that tax is going to the Britain so that people of the Britain can live in the comfort. So this economic critique of the colonialism, it is further adding to the political awareness in India. Then, so political awareness in India. So please write these few words. You write, in the beginning, Indian National Congress Indian National Congress demanded to increase the number, Indian National Congress demanded to increase the number of Indians in the legislative councils, number of Indians in the legislative councils, full stop. Then further you mention, and grant them more political rights, full stop, more political rights. Then you write, they also demanded reforms, reform in Indian civil services, so as Indians are not in disadvantageous position, as compared to Europeans, Okay, full stop. Then you write, their most important contribution in the initial phase was creating political awareness in the masses, and economic critique of colonialism, Then economic critique of colonialism. So now, listen, that what were their methods? Since we mentioned in the beginning that they must go with a cautious approach, and gradual building must be there rather than all of sudden mass movement or aggressive movements are there. So when it comes to their methods, so their methods were the peaceful agitation. Moreover, they believed in the constitutional agitation, they believed in the prayers and petition, and they believed to work within the four walls of the law. So, कानून की चार दीवारी के अंदर काम करना, meaning that they are not violating any of the law. And that was good also. Because in the beginning phase itself, if they would have violated the laws of the nation at that point of time, so maybe Britishers would have suppressed this particular organization for forever. So they were working within the four walls of the law, constitutional agitation, prayers, petition, and peaceful methods. So you write that They preferred peaceful method of agitation. They preferred peaceful method of agitation like constitutional agitation, like constitutional agitation, constitutional agitation. Then further you can mention prayers, petitions, prayers, petitions, and to limit themselves within four walls of the law. So four walls of the law. But see, this is what we say, that I am working within the four walls of the law. So do you consider that in a room there would be only four walls? There is a roof also, and there is a ground also. So there is always a chance of underground thing, and there is always a chance of over the roof then. But I will respect the four walls of the law. So why we don't say that six dimensions, not all three dimensions of the law, okay? But we say four walls of the law because law is never foolproof. There are always loopholes in the law. Then, so we will have chance to go and resort to use that loopholes in our own favor. So now you are listening this one and looking at this word constitutional agitation. It seems like that at this point of time, that when we say that parliament is that wall of that in front of the speaker, in front of the Rajya Sabha chairman, that is the wall of the democracy, then and well of the democracy, and then constitutional agitation has gone into a different phase whereby MPs are fighting, then they are just holding the collars of the Rajya Sabha chairman, and moreover they are beating marshals also. So these scenes are there. And ये पता नहीं कौन सा agitation है, constitutional तो नहीं लगता है, though it happens in the constitutional arena of India, but it doesn't seems to be constitutional. And whoever is resorting to these tactics in opposition, it will not favor them, because people will have to realize that the biggest of the intelligence, the most important intelligence is the emotional intelligence. And that's why this is a part of your syllabus in the ethics paper. And these people, if they are not emotionally intelligent, because it will convey a wrong emotional message to the society, and moreover, people would be highly disaffected with the act of one or two opposition people. The entire opposition would be highly disaffected. So this they need to understand. And I think that our netas must be invited to institute. We will teach them emotional intelligence. Then that how to behave and how not to give wrong message in the society. Because politics is all a game of the emotions. Then you win elections on the factor of the emotion. You lose election on the factor of the emotion. Elections are never ever in India, elections are won on the agendas and won on the policies and won on the factors related to the economy. Let me tell you very clearly, see that since we cannot be apolitical. We live in a country where we cannot be apolitical, but this is not indoctrination, it's just a view. So just a view, but that one view which is very profound, you all will realize. Can you tell me that any election in India where people, and I'm using generic term, I'm not saying that some intelligence then, but the general population, have we ever voted on the agenda of the employment? That I am voting this party, this particular person, because he will give employment, because this party will give do the economic progress of the country. Have you ever voted for the health infrastructure? Have you ever voted for the economic development? Have you ever voted for the employment? Have you ever voted for the increase in the HDI? Have you ever voted for the road transport? No. The general population has never voted for these particular things. And then they all have voted on the emotional aspect. So they all have voted on the emotional aspect. And then when it happens, why to whine about कि health infrastructure है ही नहीं? जब वोट ही नहीं किया तो why the hell you are talking about that there is no health infrastructure? When you didn't voted for the economic development and when economy is going inside the drain, you don't have the right to blame that economy to gadde mein chali gayi because you didn't voted for the economy. So this is what is the reality in this country, that we all and it's a generic term. I'm not saying that कि कुछ intelligent लोग और कुछ समझदार लोग ऐसे नहीं करते हैं, but otherwise that entire population is into this only, that we operate according to the emotions. And moreover, in the political scenario of this country, we are made emotionally fool. So we are made emotionally fool, and then we realized by the 5 year, we realized that, okay, I was an emotional fool. And then again, we don't learn from the past. Again, we are ready for the another emotional blackmailing, and then we do the same stuff. So this is how we are. Then please write few words. So what we were writing, these all methods within the four walls of the law. Then these people, the early nationalists, they did not had faith in the capacity of the masses, and they were rightly so. They did not had faith in the capacity of the masses because masses cannot act without awareness. So the first task is to create awareness, and that doesn't happen overnight. So overnight nahi ho jayega. It will take a little bit of time. So they didn't had faith in the capacity of the masses, and that's why they did not started any mass movement. But one thing can be noted, that this particular first phase is the base of the Indian nationalism or Indian freedom struggle. Without this phase, the mass movements of the later phase, it would not have been possible. Okay? So please write that the early nationalist didn't had faith didn't had faith in the capacity of the masses, didn't had faith in the capacity of the masses, and they never initiated a mass movement. So, you write, they didn't had faith in the capacity of the masses as they didn't started any mass movement. Full stop. Then you write, but the political awareness created by them facilitated future mass struggle against the British. You guys have started. चलो पढ़ तो नहीं पाऊंगा अभी तुम लोग के responses, because see I would have to moderate this, and पढ़ूंगा जरूर क्लास खत्म होने के बाद. ठीक है, what you guys have sent. So now we are moving with the class. Then, and this emotional thing which I was saying na, that is what I call that most of the time when it all comes to the election, you start behaving on the lines of the religion. And it's not just one party to the blame, but also the party which is in the opposition, it has also utilized the religious sentiments. And when you guys would be reading the post-independence, in fact, the coveted, the respected Rajiv Gandhi, he himself behaved in this way. To get the sentiments in his own favor. So, कोई दूध का धुला नहीं है, ठीक है? In politics, nobody is दूध का धुला, सब एक ही थाली के चट्टे बट्टे हैं. So now, let's come to बस ये है कि कोई ज्यादा थोड़ा कम. Somebody is 90, somebody is 89. Only this much is difference there. There is no difference like that somebody is 90 and another is the 70. इतना नहीं है. सारे नेता एक ही जैसे होते हैं. Otherwise there would not have been defections from one party to another. If ideology would have been the case, there would not have been that kind of defections. Then कोई ideology नहीं होती है. ये just ना प्रेस में बात करने के लिए आइडियोलॉजी होती है. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज अबाउट द फर्स्ट फेज ऑफ द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल. लेट्स मूव टू द सेकंड फेज ऑफ द फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल. सो second phase of freedom struggle. And this is going to be there from 1905 to 1915. So initially first 10 years are the phases. Okay? So now why the second phase of the freedom struggle, Indian freedom struggle, is going to happen? So this is because of one decision of the British authority. So what is this decision of the British authority? That this decision that Britishers they somehow they found a very new idea, new thing to experiment on Indians, and since they are present in India from very long time, that 1900, and they are already present from 1600. So already their presence is there for the 300 years, more than 300, near about 300 years. So itne time mein koi bhi kisi ko samajh jata hai. So they understood the psyche of the people, and now they realized that they can be easily fooled then, and they can be easily fooled on the lines of the religion. This is what I was commenting earlier. And see, every discussion which has to be there in the class, that has a purpose. Then, so the purpose is for you to understand that what we see in the today political scenario, in fact, this is not an innovation of our own political leaders, but they are just ardent followers of the Britishers. Even British चले गए, अभी भी हम उनको follow कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So Britishers innovated this. They came up with this innovative idea, divide and rule. Then, so divide and rule, and instill in the minds of the Indians that Hindus and Muslims cannot live together. They are a separate community. Their interests don't coincide. Their cultures are different. Their religion is different. Their customs is different. Their food is different. Their blood is different. Their sexes are different. There is a Hindu sex and there is a Muslim sex. Okay? So, and they can say this and people will believe this. Then, and people were believing this. So, they came up with this idea, and in 1905, since the Bengal was the cradle of all the freedom struggle, that it was the cradle of all the movement, and from Bengal it all started, because Bengal was the first province to be captured by the Britishers, and moreover it is the intellectual province of India. It was the intellectual province of India, first intellectual province, and then second you can say that Bombay, Gujarat. Then, so from Bengal it all started, and then what they did, that they divided, they announced a decision that in 1905 that Bengal would be divided into two parts. That is East Bengal and West Bengal. East Bengal would be comprising of the today's Bangladesh and Assam, and West Bengal would be comprising of the today's West Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. And the basis of this division would be religion. So basis of this division would be religion, that majority population Muslim in the East Bengal and majority population Hindu in the East Bengal. So this is how they divided. And after the partition of the Bengal, the Indian national movement entered into the second phase. So Indian national movement entered into the second phase, and at this point of time, when this partition was effected on 16th of October 1905. So this partition was effected on 16th of October 1905. So there were many people in the Indian society, many nationalists of Indian society, they were highly disaffected, and they realized that some of the leaders from the Congress, they said to the that other Congress leaders that this prayer, petition, constitutional agitation is all fine. ठीक है? कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. That it's all fine. But the situation, the context with which we are going through, we need a pressure of the passive resistance. Then, so we need a pressure of the passive resistance on this government. Otherwise, today they are dividing us on the lines of the religion. Tomorrow, they will divide us on the lines of the religion के बाद क्या आएगा? Caste. Then after the caste, they will divide us on the lines of the family. And then later on, they will divide us on the lines of the husband and wife. ठीक है? एंड अगर जो एक हिंदी में कहावत कहूं तो एक खटिया के आदमी औरत को दो खटिया पे कर देंगे. This is how effective British were there at this point of time. So once they have started, there is no stopping, there is no going back, and they realize it at very first place. But not much was there in their hand. And reality is that even by 1947, we contested Britishers very effectively. We just made them to go out of this country, but we didn't contested enough to stop this disdain and to stop this practice of still division of the society on the basis of on the lines of the religion. And it will take hell lot of time to understand people. There is only one religion in the world, that is human religion, then humanity. And सभी इंसान है, बस अलग बात है, इंसानियत सबके में नहीं है. So please write that in 1905, British government decided to divide the province of Bengal. To divide the province of Bengal into two parts. On the basis of religion. To divide the province of Bengal into two parts on the basis of religion. Then further mention on the basis of religion. Then mention East Bengal with Muslim majority population, and in brackets you can write Bangladesh and Assam. So ये modern name है, उस time का नाम नहीं है. So Bangladesh and Assam. So East Bengal with Muslim majority and West Bengal with Hindu majority. Then, and here, today's West Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. So in this category, these three states would be there. Done? You write, after writing this, with the announcement of this partition, Indian national movement entered into its second phase. Full stop. Change paragraph. And then you mention partition of Bengal was effected on 16th of October 1905. 16th of October 1905. Full stop. So 16th of October 1905. Then you mention at this point of time, at this point of time, the militant nationalist of the Congress, militant nationalist of the Congress, militant nationalist of the Congress were of the view, militant nationalist of the Congress were of the view that the prayers and petitions must be backed with the pressure of passive resistance, Then I'll explain this term later on. अभी थोड़ा सुन लो. So, should be backed by the pressure of the passive resistance. We will be defining that what is this passive resistance. In fact, this is what is going to be used in the Swadeshi movement. So there I will define, but for the time being you understand. So this idea of the passive resistance, the greatest representative of this thought was the Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So Bal Gangadhar Tilak was the greatest representative of this thought. Then, please wait for 1 minute. बहुत ज़्यादा है. कुछ वहाँ पे लगा दो ना उस साइड में. So, listen. See, there are many challenges, and now today's challenge of the class is that there are so many mosquitoes. We live in a country where we live with these all animals and insects. So listen, what is here? So the greatest representative of this thought was Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and moreover, he preached his militant ideas through two newspapers, and these newspapers, the names we have written, but just listen. So these two newspapers were Maharatta and Kesari. So Maharatta was in English and Kesari was in Marathi. So these two newspapers, through these newspapers, he propagated his ideas. Moreover, Bal Gangadhar Tilak also increased his popularity through some festivals. So he celebrated festivals, and these festivals were Shivaji Festival and Ganpati Festival. So Shivaji and Ganpati Festival. So he increased his popularity with these festivals. Then, so please write from the next paragraph. The greatest representative of this thought was Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Then you write, Tilak preached his militant ideas through two newspapers. You write Kesari in Marathi and Maharatta in English. केसरी in Marathi and Maharatta in English. ठीक है? फिर उसके बाद लिखो उसके आगे, you guys write केसरी Maharatta. Then you write, he also started to celebrate Ganpati festival from 1893 and Shivaji festival from 1895. So Ganpati festival from 1893 and Shivaji festival from 1895 to increase his popularity. To increase his popularity. To increase his popularity. Then so after that Bal Gangadhar Tilak gave provocative speeches against the British authority. In fact, there was one of very popular provocative speech of the Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and I think that some of the batches you guys are covered with that in your batch the medieval history is covered. So उसमें तुम लोगों ने पढ़ा था that Shivaji killed Afzal Khan, then Bijapuri General Afzal Khan. So what at this point of time Bal Gangadhar Tilak gave a provocative speech whereby he was giving the speech on the Shivaji and then also Afzal Khan. But what he was doing actually at this point of time, he was comparing Shivaji with the Indian people and then he was comparing Afzal Khan as the British, an outsider. And then he was provocating that how the Shivaji instantly killed Afzal Khan and Afzal Khan was dead. Then, so this speech he gave at this point of time. In fact, there was huge uproar after this speech. Then, so you write that he gave provocative speeches. He gave provocative speeches against Britishers. Provocative speeches against Britishers. And he was supported by, he gave provocative speeches against Britishers and he was supported by the nationalist. He was supported by the nationalist like, so I hope you know the names that who are the people who must have supported Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and they are commonly termed as the extremist leaders of the Congress, and these people were Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal, and then also this Aurobindo Ghosh. So please mention that he was supported by Lala Lajpat Rai, he was supported by Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal, and Aurobindo Ghosh. So Lala Lajpat Rai, Bipin Chandra Pal and Aurobindo Ghosh. Then, and because of the methods adopted by these all four people and their followers also, they came to be popularly known as the extremist leader of the Congress. So please mention, due to the methods adopted by them, they came to be known as extremist leaders of the Congress. Extremist leaders of the Congress. They came to be known as the extremist leaders of the Congress. So this is one part. But what is the original protest against the British authority? And this original protest is going to be the Swadesi movement. So let's write a heading under this second phase, and that is the Swadesi movement. Just 1 minute. So please write, please mention Swadesi movement. So there was an internet disruption, and that's how all of a sudden it all stopped. So I use that duration as the break period. Now there would be no break. Already you have got 10-12 minutes. So now without any announcement, Swadesi movement we need to start with. So let's begin with the Swadesi. एक झटके में सब खत्म. So now, listen. So partition of Bengal has been affected. And one thing which I didn't told you at this point of time, something related to the Congress. So the Congress as an organization has been, that the foundation has been let down. And at that point of time, when the Congress was in formation, or when it was formed, so the Viceroy of India at that point of time was the Dufferin. Then, and his name, how we can write, Dufferin. Just let me. Dufferin. Then, so Dufferin, some instances are there. So at the time of the formation of the Congress, he made a statement when they rejected that Indian National Union concept and they created the Indian National Congress. So he made a statement about the Congress that it is a microscopic, Congress is a microscopic minority community. Microscopic and minority organization. Okay? So microscopic organization. Okay? And he said that it will not be able to it will not be able to achieve any success in India. Soon they are just going down the lane. Then so soon they will go down the lane, and it's a microscopic community which has no relevance in the Indian politics. So looking at that, what happened in the next 30-40 years, I would better write his name. A duffer was in India. Yes, he was a duffer who said that Congress is a microscopic community. It was not a microscopic community. It was a community which was going to lead the Indian national freedom struggle. And until the realization of this goal. So he was really a duffer, to understand that. Then let's come to the another thing which I needed to talk about the Congress. This is one part. Then another part of the Congress, that in Congress as an organization, listen, in Congress as an organization, there were some rules. Every year, there would be the different president, or there would be election of the president. Then, so every year, a president would be chosen, and the most powerful position was the most powerful person in the Congress was the Congress president. Then he has so many privileges, and then at the same point of time, he had those privileges of forwarding the agenda of the Congress. And the process was election. So every year elections used to happen, and this election, the most important session of the Congress used to be the annual session of the Congress. Generally year ke end mein hota tha, kabhi beech mein bhi ho gaya, but generally it was happening in the year end. So annual session of the Congress, that was the most important session. There used to be other sessions also, but the most important was the annual session. Okay? So this is one rule, that every year election there would be one president then, and he would be the most powerful. Then another rule, that suppose that if a Congress annual session is happening in Calcutta, so nobody can from the Bengal will be the president of the Congress, meaning the native of that area in which the Congress session is happening, the native of that place would not be the president. So native could be that the president could be from Maharashtra, could be from UP, from Delhi, from Tamil Nadu, from Kerala, whichever part of the country, but not from the Bengal. Same way, if the assembly is happening in the Bombay, so nobody from the Bombay presidency could become the president. Okay? So could become the president. Anyone from Central Province and the United Province or Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, यहाँ से कोई भी president हो सकता है, but not from the Bombay presidency. So this was the rule. So it was a good rule then, it was a good rule, and moreover the best feature was that every year a new president for the Congress, and that's how Congress was a very successful, or it emerged over the period, not immediately, but over the period it emerged as a very successful organization. But now, nowadays, Congress is going down the lanes, and it's because of this presidentship that it is not rotating at all then. And it seems like that in the Congress, the president position is for the lifetime then. And if at all, if there is a change, so it goes from the son to mother and from mother to son. So it rotates between two people. Then, so it rotates between two people and it doesn't go to the other people. Until and unless there is the change in the presidentship of the Congress, we don't think that anything bigger could be achieved by this major political opposition of India. So, but it is necessitated for the benefit of the country and for the benefit of the people, for the benefit of everybody, that there must be a strong opposition. Okay? Democracy is nothing without strong opposition. Just by saying that we represent 60%, you need to secure the vote of the 60%. ऐसे ही है ना, कुछ भी कहीं का तिल कहीं का कुछ जोड़ के कहानी बनाना, that is not at all something which is good. So listen. Swadesi movement in this context. Now I have told you the organization of Congress rule, and then in 1905 the annual session of the Congress was to be held. So in 1905 the annual session of the Congress was to be held, and this session was, just 1 minute, this session was to be conducted at Banaras. So 1905 INC annual session. Annual session conducted at Banaras. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was the president of this assembly. So Gopal Krishna Gokhale was the president of this assembly, and he was a moderate leader. Samajhna. Congress में दो leadership है. One is the moderate and the extremist. So he was a moderate leader, and at this point of time, he sanctioned the beginning of Swadesi movement and boycott of the Manchester cloth and Liverpool salt. So in this assembly, in this session, the very important decision of the Swadesi movement was taken. So Swadesi movement and boycott of, let me write, boycott of Manchester cloth and Liverpool salt. So this is how the Swadesi movement started. So, sanction of Swadesi and then boycott of this. Not everything, but boycott of two things. One is the Manchester cloth and Liverpool salt. You know that Manchester was the industrial city of the Britain, and then very popular at the time of the Industrial Revolution in the Britain. In fact, that's the place where the textile industries were there. So raw cotton is going from India, and if you remember, we have written those three factors or three dimensions of the drain of wealth. So one was the remittances, second was the home charges, and third was the excess of export over imports, for which India got no material benefit. That's what you have written. So these all material, ये cloth कहाँ से जा रहा है? Raw material cotton come from India going to Britain, and manufactured good Manchester cloth is coming to India. Okay? Then Liverpool salt, all the salt is collected from India and then going to Britain. वहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर करके पैक करके भेज दिया India. Then so ₹1 ka, that the commodity of ₹1 is sold in 15 rupees this way. So they said that they will boycott this thing. It's just the beginning, that more things would be boycotted in later on, but it's just the beginning. Moreover, the major development in this Swadesi and boycott was in the field of the culture. So major development in this Swadesi movement duration was in the field of culture, and one by one we will be listing, we will be writing that what were these developments. Okay? So एक बार लिखो. In the context of Bengal partition, annual session of Congress was held at Banaras. Annual session of Congress was held at Banaras. Under the presidency of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Full stop. Please mention. He sanctioned the beginning of Swadesi movement. He sanctioned the beginning of Swadesi movement and boycott of Manchester cloth and Liverpool salt. Manchester cloth and Liverpool salt. Then, so now listen. So the Swadesi and boycott which we are talking, they are interlinked. Okay? They are not such thing that inseparable, okay? But they are interlinked, and both are based on self-reliance or concept of the self-reliance and in Hindi what you call Atma Shakti. So self-reliance or Atma Shakti. Okay? So this Swadesi and boycott, they were based on self-reliance and Atma Shakti. And what is this? That boycott, this is the example of the passive resistance. Okay? Listen, this Swadesi and the boycott is the example of the passive resistance. Listen, what is this boycott is going to do? British goods are dumped in India, they are coming in India, but it would be useful to the Britishers when Indians are buying it. But when you don't buy it, so that is becoming an inventory, and inventory will become a loss. Then, so inventory will become a loss, there would be depreciation, it will become a loss. I hope you understand. Okay? So that is what is bringing a kind of a pressure on the British government, that what kind of decisions you have taken economically, it may not be useful to you. Then Swadesi, so for boycotting something which is a cotton cloth and Liverpool salt, you need to make it in India, made in India, then so make in India. So then for that you will have to do something, manufacture something in India, start something in India, and be self-reliant. Then so be self-reliant and be Atma Shakti. And you see, I was talking about this thing. बोलोगे तुम लोग ना बहुत ज़्यादा बात करते हैं. So I was talking about this that emotional intelligence. Then, but emotional intelligence, it's in reality it is very important, and in reality it is the most important trait to be looked into a person. You would be judged in this exam many a times on the emotional intelligence. Then, so not just in the ethics paper, but what is your interview? Your interview is also your emotional intelligence. Then, not just emotional intelligence, different sort of the intelligence, but emotional intelligence would be judged. When you are going to work, as an IAS, when you are going to work as any officer, IAS, IFS, IPS, whichever officer, then you will be, if you are emotionally intelligent, so then you would be effective. But if you are not, you would not be effective. And it is not something that cannot be inculcated within you. You can inculcate. You can do practice of making yourself emotionally intelligent. So I would just give you one example that how emotionally intelligent our leaders are. Where our politicians, as I say, they are emotionally very intelligent. Then, So for example, one example I'll give, which is the recent one. They are, very often we do say that कि एक चाय वाला कैसे प्रधानमंत्री बन गया. Then, and very often we say that how people like Lalu Prasad Yadav was a big political, big neta, and even he has a kind of popularity in the Bihar. Then some sort, not overall popularity, but still some people do accept his leadership. So how come the people like that, people who don't have big educational qualifications and they are popular? They're intelligent. And intelligence need not to be proved through academic skills. Then कि 70% पा गए, CBSE में 95 आ गया, university top कर लिया, gold medal पा गए. No, that is not required. And that's how this exam is equalizer. It sees only that you have achieved 45% and then you can become rank 1 also. So that 45% does not mean that you are not intelligent. If you have achieved 55% in your graduation, that does not mean you are not intelligent. That only means in that particular year, you were involved in other stuff. You are not reading. You are not reading seriously. You are reading only that much so that you can pass the exam. And that is not indicative of intelligence. Then, so you are intelligent. Everyone is intelligent. So what is that example? That the government is already there from 2014. And if it really wanted to respect the name of the Major Dhyan Chand, and he is, no doubt, he is the biggest personality in the sports arena in India. So they could have named that award at that time only. At that time only, and it doesn't suit that ki Khel Ratna award must be named after a family. Okay? They have named everything after their family members. University se leke hospital and everything. So that doesn't augurs well. So a sports award must be named after the sports person. So this decision must have been taken at that point of time. But he was waiting for emotional connect with the people. And that happened. That clicked. How come? In Olympics, you got bronze medal after 41 years. Then, and people are celebrating. And then, with the stroke of then our leadership played a master stroke, changed the name from Dhyan Chand from Rajiv Gandhi to Dhyan Chand. And even the opposition is like that they cannot criticize it a lot because it has an emotional connect with the people. Emotional connect with the people, and everybody is saying that कि अच्छा काम किया. Change कर दिया. But can you see that timing of this? So timing is very important in this. And this timing comes with the emotional intelligence. दिमाग वाला intelligence तो चलता है, पर emotional intelligence बहुत important है. वापस आते हैं. So आत्म शक्ति. Now another aspect. Every discussion has a purpose, as I said. Atma Shakti, this word you see, Swadeshi movement. And then there is an anti-China sentiment in India. Anti-China sentiment in India. And what our leadership came up with? That Atma Nirbhar Bharat. Atma Nirbhar Bharat. Take it? As if like that we have started a Swadeshi movement. Then, so Atma Nirbhar Bharat and Make in India. So Make in India. And actually, I do believe that we have become Atmanirbhar because nobody else, and what I said to you in the beginning of the class, that it is not that easy. You will have to fight your own battle. So it is not that easy, and you will have to fight your own battle. Then, so Atmanirbhar, it is not that easy, and you will have to fight your own battle. Nobody will give you anything. Okay? If you want to earn something for your family, don't expect it from the government, but they will give you. They have said that Atmanirbhar bano. Okay? So that's what is the meaning of this one. So खुद के हाथ पैर से whatever that you would be earning, that would be yours. That is your Atma Bharat. Then, so Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now another thing, that the English version of this is also very funny, and then at the same point of time quite parallel, that self reliance. ठीक है? और आजकल इंडिया क्या है? Only reliance. Then, so we are only reliance at this point of time. So, and it suits actually. See, देखो, capitalism की बात आती है. We don't need to be a little bit critical towards that, this organization, but this is what we are seeing, that only reliance. And moreover, we cannot make it self-Tata. because self को टाटा हो जाएगा, ठीक है? So government also rightly chosen the same name. There is so much of intelligence involved in the politics, and those who are thinking कि यूपीएससी में नहीं हुआ तो नेता बन जाएंगे, इतना भी आसान नहीं है, ठीक है? So मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. So let's talk about this. Let's come to the next part. You're right. The Swadeshi and boycott movements, the Swadeshi and boycott movements were interlinked. The Swadeshi and boycott movements interlinked. They're interlinked, and they were based on self-reliance or Atma Shakti. Atma Shakti. Self-reliance or Atma Shakti. So now you understand. Then, and I know that some of you understand it in the fullest meaning. Then, and I just wanted to convey that to only those people who understood it in the fullest meaning. Then further you write, the major contribution of Swadeshi movement was in the sphere of culture. Then was in the sphere of culture, which is as follows. ठीक है? So अब मुद्दे की बात करते हैं. ठीक है? That what your exam will expect, that your prelims stage of exam, mains stage of exam, what they expect from you. So the questions, and importantly, the question of this year also, which came in this year prelims. So first of all, majority of the intellectuals from the Bengal, they were highly disaffected. And Bengal, since yahin pe partition hua, so obviously that more reactions would be there from the Bengal. So let's talk about that, what happened in the Bengal. So soon after the partition, Rabindranath Tagore, he was highly disaffected, and he wrote an emotional song, and name of the emotional song is the Amar Sonar Bangla. Amar Sonar Bangla. So Rabindranath Tagore, he wrote this emotional song, Amar Sonar Bangla, then, and you divided it. So you divided it. And then after Amar Sonar Bangla, after the independence of the, or you can say that after the creation of the Bangladesh, this particular song became their national anthem. So this particular song became their national anthem. Then, so it was a composition of the Rabindranath Tagore. And can you see our Home Minister using this term? Sonar Bangla. ठीक है? कितना काम आएगा वो अलग बात है, but cultural appropriation is always there. Then, so please mention, after the partition of Bengal, Rabindranath Tagore composed Amar Sonar Bangla. Amar Sonar Bangla, which later became Rabindranath Tagore composed Amar Sonar Bangla, which later became National Anthem of Bangladesh. National Anthem of Bangladesh. Chalo. I do feel that this is one of the very beautiful language. In fact, that what sort of you have written that sort of singer. So I do love the Bengali songs and the tone and tenor that is there in the Bengali songs. Bengali is beautiful, and also the Punjabi songs, and then Tamil and Malayalam songs. These 4 languages songs are very beautiful. So next you write, after this one, you know about that, we have talked about that Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's novel Anand Math. In that novel, in that work of fiction, he has written one song. Name of the song was the Bande Mataram. So already the song is composed then, but at this point of time, Bande Mataram became the song of the Indian freedom struggle, or it became a kind of a national song at this point of time. So you mentioned that. Second, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's composition, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's composition Bande Mataram. Bande Mataram Bande Mataram in Sanskrit became the theme song of composition. Bande Mataram in Sanskrit became the theme song of Indian national movement. Indian national movement. Then, so became the theme song of Indian national movement. Then another person, the third personality, again from the Tagore family only. So Abanindra Nath Tagore. Abanindra Nath Tagore. In fact, they were Thakur. The original name was the Thakur, but Britishers were not able to pronounce Thakur. It became Tagore, and in fact, the family people, these people, they also were writing, in Bengali, they were writing their names as the Abanindranath Thakur, but English, they used to write the Tagore. So, Abanindranath Tagore, so he broke the European tradition of the painting in India. So he broke the European tradition of painting in India, and he started to paint on Indian theme. And one of the most popular painting of the Abanindranath Tagore at this point of time was Bharat Mata. So Bharat Mata, and this painting is further invoking the sentiments in the people. So it's further invoking the sentiments in the people. So now listen, you write that Abanindranath Tagore broke Abanindranath Tagore broke the European tradition of painting. And started to paint on Indian themes. Full stop. His most important contribution was painting of Bharat Mata. Then the next initiative. After this, you can see a mosquito here. It is just running after me. So the fourth one is the creation of Oriental Society of Art. Oriental Society of Art in 1907. So this society was created to promote the Oriental art, meaning that the art which is there in India, all the nations which are there on the eastern side. So for the promotion of the Oriental art, moreover, this society started to offer scholarship, and one of the initial recipient of this scholarship was Nandalal Bose. So Nandalal Bose was the first recipient of this scholarship offered by this institute, and later on Nandalal Bose was the one who became the main painter of the Indian National Congress. So please write that in 1907, foundation of Foundation of Oriental Society of Art. Foundation of Oriental Society of Art happened. Oriental Society of Art happened to promote Indian art. To promote Indian art. Then, to promote Indian art, then you write Nandalal Bose was the first recipient. Nandalal Bose was the first recipient of the scholarship, offered by this institute, comma, who later became main painter of Indian National Congress. Then, so this is, I think this is the fourth initiative that you have written from the Bengal. And let's move to the next one, fifth one. So Acharya P.C. Ray. He founded Bengal Chemical Factory. So please mention Acharya P.C. Ray. I think full name is the Praful Chandra Ray. So Acharya P.C. Ray founded Bengal Chemical Factory. It was a pharmaceutical, it is still there. Bengal Chemical Factory is still there. It's a pharmaceutical company. And this company was associated with that, initially it was associated with the production of the hydroxychloroquine, the medicine which was very much touted in the beginning that it is going to relieve people from the pandemic or this particular disease. So Bengal Chemical Factory was initial of the organizations or factories which produce hydroxychloroquine. Okay? So now another thing that after the Bengal, there are two more episodes in Maharashtra. Okay? So in Maharashtra, I just want to write the name of the person and what was his role at this point of time. So in Maharashtra, it is number 5. So you can write 6. So there was a person, his name was Sakharam Ganesh Deuskar. Sakharam Ganesh Deuskar. Then, so in 1904, before this partition and the Swadeshi movement, in 1904 he wrote a booklet. In 1904 he wrote a booklet and name of the booklet was Deser Katha. So Deser Katha. See, you will not be pronouncing it as Katha because it will seem as a Bengali language. Then this is a Marathi language, Deser Katha. So here we'll be calling it Katha, but if it would have been a Bengali, so we will be calling it Deser Katha. So Deser Katha, and what he has written in this one, so in this particular booklet, he warned against, so in this booklet, he warned against, he is giving a warning of the hypnotic colonial conquest of mind. Or in other words, let me write in other words. It may, just 1 minute. Give me just 1 minute. I'm writing it. So, colonial state, hypnotic conquest of mind. Hypnotic conquest of mind. Then, so in 1904, he wrote this particular article, this booklet, and booklet was the colonial state. In this, he warned against, so he is warning against, warned, I'll write here, warned against this. And what is this? Colonial state hypnotic conquest of the mind. You need to understand what do he mean by that. So he said that Britishers, they will forward some ideology, some theory, so that with this theory, they will divide the Indian society on different lines, then, and conquest of mind. They are just making you believe that what they have done, that is right. Then, what they have done, that is right, but he is warning against that. That is not right, you need to understand. And Britishers will do this thing in the future. So he has predicted some sort of thing in 1904, and exactly that is what happened in 1905, that Britishers divided the society on the line of the religion, and just to make some people believe that this is a good decision, that Hindus ko Hindu ke side hona chahiye, Muslims ko Muslim ke side hona chahiye. And some people believed then, so some people believed. So he has warned already, and when the Swadeshi movement started, when this decision was effected, so all of a sudden, the sale of this Deser Katha started to happen. And it was sold in thousands and thousands of the copies within few months only. It became very popular. And since its popularity was increasing and which was going against the British state, so in 1910, finally, Britishers banned this article. So they banned this article in 1910. And this is what was the question this year in the paper. Okay? So please mention. So in Maharashtra, Sakharam Gadesh Deuskar, his name is written on the board, so you can see. So Sakharam Gadesh Deuskar popularized the ideas of Sakharam Gadesh Deuskar popularized the ideas of Dadabhai Naoroji, and further you write Dadabhai Naoroji, Mahadev Govind Ranade, and promoted Swadeshi. Mahadev Govind Ranade and promoted Swadeshi. Then further, after that you write, and promoted Swadeshi. Then, after that, mention. In 1904, he wrote a booklet, Deser Katha. So, Deser Katha, not Katha. So, in 1904, he wrote a booklet, Deser Katha, in which he warned against colonial state hypnotic conquest of mind. Hypnotic conquest of mind. Colonial state hypnotic conquest of mind. Then further you write, during the Swadeshi movement, after full stop, during the Swadeshi movement, it became very popular. Because of which it was banned by British authority. In 1910. In 1910. In 1910. Then after this particular, the last initiative, I think this is the 6th one. So 7th one, which we need to write, you can mention that V.O. Chidambaram Pillai. Just give me a minute. V.O. Chidambaram Pillai founded Steam Navigation Company of India. Steam Navigation Company. Steam Navigation Company of India. So please write. This is the last we are writing. V.O. Chidambaram Pillai founded Steam Navigation Company of India. Done? So these were some of the initiatives which were taken at this point of time. Let's talk about the few things, some of the limitations of the Swadesi movement. It's not going to end here, but limitation I am going to discuss with some perspective. And perspective is that is going to lead to the formation of the Muslim League in this duration. So All India Muslim League in this duration. So please mention limitation of the Swadesi movement. So please write limitation of Swadesi movement. Now listen. So there was one such thing which happened during the course of Swadesi movement, that Swadesi movement could not garner the support of the Muslim masses, particularly in Bengal itself. So it was not able to garner the support of the Muslim masses in Bengal, and there are two reasons behind that why it was not able to garner the support of the Muslims in the Bengal. First of all, the policy of the divide and rule which is followed by the British authority, that they are very effectively using this policy of the divide and rule, and in fact time and again we'll see one such manifestation of the divide and rule. And the second was the reactionary leadership within the Muslim masses, particularly in the Bengal. So these were the two reasons that limited the effectiveness of this movement, particularly in the Muslim masses. So please write that you mention it could not garner the support of Muslim masses of Bengal. It could not garner the support of Muslim masses in Bengal due to the two important reasons. Due to the two important reasons. Number one, you write, due to two important reasons, the policy of divide and rule followed by British authority, the policy of divide and rule followed by British authority, and the next you write followed by the British authority, and second, the reactionary leadership among the Muslim masses. The reactionary leadership among the Muslim masses. So now listen, that this particular aspect which we have written right now, limitations of the Swadesi movement, one such reason is the formation of this organization. And what is this organization? AIML. What is this? All India Muslim League. So let's talk about that. Creation of All India Muslim League in 1906. So creation of All India Muslim League in 1906. So listen, that this All India Muslim League in 1906, it was created with the created by the people like Aga Khan and Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka. So Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka, but what is important here that this organization was created or facilitated, the foundation of this organization was facilitated by none other than then Viceroy Minto. So Minto is the one who brought these people, who set these people, who convinced these people to create this organization. He is the one who is facilitating the creation of this organization. So with the support of the Viceroy Minto, it happened. But that was not in the case of the Congress. In the case of Congress, for one thing, that one credit you must give to the Congress from right from the beginning, that it was a secular organization, and it's not like that there were not people who were right-wingers in the Congress, but there was always a confrontation within the Congress itself, that those who were right-wingers, they were shown the way then, and it maintained this character. But that cannot be said about the other organizations. So here it came with the support of the Viceroy Minto, and they made their agenda very clear. So what was the agenda of the Muslim League at this point of time, when at the time of the formation? So what is this? That this organization will work to provide a political platform for the Muslim masses, and they will work in the favor of the Muslim masses. That's fine. So to provide a political platform to the Muslim masses and also work in the favor of the Muslim masses. But the second part which they said, many of the Indian Muslims, they were against that. Then, so just don't go with this name that was writing All India Muslim League, everybody will be following the Muslim League. No, that was not the case. So the second agenda was that they will remain loyal to the British authority. And on this aspect, many of the Indian Muslims were quite disaffected, that how come you can remain loyal to the British authority? And moreover, Muslim League was, after its formation, it remained the favorite of the British authority because they were using it very effectively. So it remained favorite of the British authority right till the partition and the freedom. So right till the partition of the freedom. In fact, there is a last episode about the Mountbatten. We will talk about him, that how he is highly disliked in the Pakistan, what are the reasons behind that, why Lord Mountbatten was not liked in the Pakistan. But otherwise, there were many such viceroys in India who used AIML as a tool that to further kind of advance their imperialist view. So Muslim League at this point of time was founded, and let me tell you some aspects related to Muslim League since we are going to write. Likhne se pehle sun lo. So till 1903, from 1906 to 1903, it was completely loyal to, 100% loyal to the British authority. Then, but there was something which happened after 1903. So 1903, there was a bit of kind of that some kind of activity. Gangadhar Tilak is coming back after that. Then in 1916, there is a Lucknow Pact, which we'll be writing, but abhi sun lo kahani ki tarah. So 1916, there would be a Lucknow Pact between the Muslim League and the Indian National Congress. So it will dilute some of its position towards the British authority. Not completely, but dilute some of its position. But again, from 1930s, they will again become loyal to the British authority, fully loyal to the British authority. Then in 1940, when Muhammad Ali Jinnah, when he was sleeping, and then not really he was sleeping, he was dreaming, and he was seeing himself as the that a kind of a messiah, and then moreover he was seeing himself as a new angel, and he was seeing himself as a creator of the new land in the world that would be most sacred land in the world, Pakistan. So that's how he was thinking about this, and then out of his dream he came out, and then he started to sing his song that nothing less than Pakistan I would be satisfied. So he sang this song till 1947, and that's how we got partitioned in 1947. So we got partitioned in 1947. The one man behind this entire thing was the Muhammad Ali Jinnah. He rallied many people before him, but if he would not have taken that position, so there would not have been partition, and still we would have been enjoying the best cricket team in the world. Kahan Shoaib Akhtar India ki team mein hota? Wasim Akram, and then also that Waqar Yunus, Abdul Qadir, these all people. There would have been a great combination of the fast bowlers, and then great combination of the right-hand batsman and left-hand batsman. But that was not written in the fate. Only thing written in the fate was that these two nations, they will play like a enemy of 36 then. So I hope you're understanding. So till 1940s, so 1947 this happened. I also want to tell you that one such outcome, that one such fate of the Muslim League. So Muslim League after partition, now it cannot be called as the AIML because up to Pakistan ban gaya, so it was named as the All Pakistan Muslim League, APML. So now it started to be called as the APML. And you know, Muslim League got to know that this politics may have worked for creating a nation, but it will not work for ruling the nation. Then, so in 1954 general election, APML, All Pakistan Muslim League, it was defeated in both the fronts, that is East Pakistan, Bangladesh, and in West Pakistan. Both the places it was defeated. And then after Muslim League, it took a hell lot of time for it to come to power, change its character, and moreover, it got divided into many branches. Okay? So Pakistan People's Party, Muslim League, ऐसे बहुत सारे पार्टियां बन गए, and then some sort of alliances happened, and then they came to power, but otherwise it took a bit of time. So Muslim League was effective as a pressure organization. You can say that it was effective as a pressure group before 1947, but it was not effective as a national party after 1947. That's not the case with the Indian National Congress. It was effective as a pressure group also, and it was a very successful national party. So that is one difference that I wanted to make between these two. If you wanted to note down, if you wanted to take down, you must have done. There are some things that which cannot be dictated. So it's all upon your own sense that and how we will be writing this thing then and how we will be jotting down this thing. So please write. In 1906, Aga Khan, in 1906, Aga Khan and Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka. You write Dhaka, ऐसे ही British लिखते थे. So in 1906, Aga Khan and Nawab Salimullah of Dhaka led the foundation of All India Muslim League. Led the foundation of All India Muslim League in Dhaka, with the support of then Viceroy, Minto, full stop, Minto. They made their agenda very clear. They made their agenda very clear that they wanted to create a political organization for the Muslims, and to work in the favor of Muslim masses. Then after full stop you write, they also maintained that their intention is not to create disharmony their intention is not to create disharmony in the Indian society. Disharmony in the Indian society, but they also emphasized that Muslim League will remain loyal. They also emphasized that Muslim League will remain loyal to the British authority. So to the British authority. So Muslim League will remain loyal to the British authority. So this is what is all about the creation of the Muslim League. Now, some of you may ask, Hindu Mahasabha kab aaya? So Hindu Mahasabha 1915-16 was the year when Hindu Mahasabha is going to come to picture. And though that the talk was already there from 1906 after the creation of the Muslim League. So the right-wingers and moreover the extremist people from the Hindu masses, they also wanted reactionary people, you can say, from the Hindu masses. They also wanted to create the organization, and that organization finally came after 8-9 years. And moreover, these two organizations can be compared as the similar. That Muslim League on one hand and the Hindu Mahasabha on one hand. Both were known for the reactionary things. So I needed to tell you about the further course of the Swadeshi, and moreover Surat, that split of the Congress in Surat. Split of the Congress in Surat. So we will do that tomorrow. Okay? So the continuation of this particular Swadeshi, then split in the Congress, and then after the split in the Congress, we will talk about the Government of India Act 1909, and then I will talk about the revolutionary nationalism, particularly the Gadar movement and these all things in this phase. So we are going by the timeline, we are going by the chronology. So chronology mein jo uske baad aayega, we will see that. And then after completing that revolutionary nationalism in this phase, particularly 1905 to 1915, then we will move to the Home Rule movement, and when Tilak is going to come back to India, so then we will talk about the Home Rule movement. So this would be the formula or agenda of the next classes. So with this note, तुम लोगों ने already thank you बोलना start कर दिया है. So चलो, thank you, ठीक है, and good night to all of you. So how come you got to know that the response screen is active? बड़े चालू हो तुम लोग. And then, so चलो, so thank you to all of you, and bye. And I hope you have got many things in the today's class, apart from many lessons from the today's class. ठीक है, चलो, bye, good night.